Jaguars training camp day 10 in the books. Let's talk about it. Before we get into this video, big shout out to today's sponsor, BetUS. BetUS is a leading online sports betting website that is one of the leaders in the industry. Right now, there's all kinds of different lines up on there, whether you want to go look at preseason lines or even you can go through every Jaguars game and kind of check out different lines on there. All of them are out there and available, including futures. You can bet on the Jaguars winning the Super Bowl. You can bet on the Jaguars winning the AFC South, which the Jaguars are by far and large a huge margin to win the AFC South. So a bunch of different stuff is available over there for you guys. And I do have a special link for you guys down below that you can use to be able to multiply your initial deposit by 125%. So yeah, go check out BetUS and shout out to them for sponsoring this video. Now, with all that said, let's get into this video. So today was day 10 of Jaguars training camp, and it was my second day to be able to drive up there. So I did make the trek from Orlando up to Jacksonville today. And I'm so glad I did it for myself, and so I can kind of report to you guys a little bit about what I was able to see, just because right now I'm not able to go to all of them, and I can only kind of give you limited coverage as opposed to others that may be covering the Jaguars. So some of the things I saw is, look, I mean, I just got to say this every time. Look, Trevor Lawrence looks phenomenal. I mean, not only is he displaying really good accuracy, but he's also really reading defenses very well and just deciphering things like that. Just a clear command of the offense and just all the different buzzwords you want to use around Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you can use it. I mean, he is phenomenal, and like he's really poised to have one of the greatest seasons ever from a Jaguars quarterback. And there's a lot of people out there, including our own guy Pete Prisco, are out there talking about him in MVP conversations. So he is very, very highly acclaimed, and this is the year where, look, the rust is knocked off. The first year is gone from him. The first half of last year is gone, and we saw a crazy good quarterback the back half of 2022. So, he should only continue that momentum going into next year, especially with this next guy, Calvin Ridley. Look, Calvin Ridley, every time I see this guy, I'm just super impressed. And I've only seen him twice, in person, but, he moves different than a lot of the wide receivers. And, today he made an awesome one-handed catch right in front of me, right on the sidelines. Just has a knack for the football. And, I noticed that when Trevor's in trouble, a lot of times he looks his way. I think, Calvin's going to be one of those guys that, both those guys will be able to get on the same level and figure out where each other need to be. Kind of like what we hope it's going to be is like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce had this weird, thing in their head, like this link where they know exactly what each other's thinking, and Travis Kelce's going to run where he knows Patrick Mahomes is going to want him. So that's what we hope out of Calvin Ridley. And look, it's a contract year for Calvin Ridley. Hopefully, he does his thing, and the Jaguars are able to sign him on for another contract. So it was super, super cool seeing that. Now, 11 on 11s, a lot of 11 on 11s today. And look, at the start of 11 on 11s, I was just staring at Trayvon Walker because to me, he's probably the most intriguing guy this offseason for the Jaguars and just going into the season, because we drafted this guy number 1 overall to do things that he didn't do in college. Okay. And, they drafted him saying, okay, this is going to be our big sack guy. So, I'm sitting here. We saw him last year. We knew what we saw. And, we said, look, great body of work. I mean, he has all the potential, but needs to be able to learn some pass rushing moves. Now, he did have a really good day today. I saw him get 2 sacks today. One came on like a stunt, and then one came from Anton Harrison just not really wanting to block him. He just kind of went around the edge and just a miscommunication. But, outside of that, he was all over the place. He was even in coverage one time against Britton Strange when Trevor Lawrence actually completed it for a touchdown, but it was just a tremendous throw, and it was actually pretty good coverage by Trayvon Walker. But Trayvon Walker, he was very physical. I'll say that. He looks very strong. I mean, everybody that is supposed to cover him and guard him, they have a really difficult time. I mean, he's just that kind of dude. But I didn't see any of the pass rushing moves that I was wanting to see. Granted, I watched him a lot toward the beginning, and then I started kind of taking my eyes elsewhere. But, I still need to see that from him, and hopefully we kind of get to see that a little bit more, when the season starts. But that's a big thing that I'm going to be looking at, because we need him to unlock his potential, because right now I'm going to continue to be worried about the pass rush. I'm not going to ignore it. I think the pass rush is going to be our biggest weakness this year, and it does worry me. And maybe the Jaguars are going to look to get a guy at the trade deadline, just because the guys in house, I just don't think we have enough. And hopefully Dewan Smoot comes back sooner rather than later, but that's just my opinion. But a guy that can alleviate that is a Trayvon Walker. Turns out to be an absolute stud. Now, I was interested in seeing the cornerback spot today, because Tyson Campbell was out today because he had a concussion in the practice at Everbank Stadium yesterday. So he was out with a concussion. It was Monteric Brown that actually stepped in for him on the outside. Monteric Brown, pretty good day at practice. He had one really good breakup deep to Tim Jones. And it looks like Monteric Brown is going to be the first guy up after, whoever on the outside gets hurt. Monteric Brown was a 7th-round pick, I believe, last year in the draft in 2022. So that's going to be a guy to look out for in case there's any injury. Trey Herndon was pretty much the starter at nickel the whole time ones were out there. So no Antonio Johnson sightings when it comes to starting reps at the nickel spot. But I think at some point it's going to be Antonio Johnson's job, just in my opinion. And Trey Herndon even got beat for a touchdown by Zay Jones. So we know what Trey Herndon is. I'm wanting to see the guy that we haven't seen before. So I hope that kind of happens soon. Now, Devin Lloyd has had a nice day. He was kind of all over the place, and that's kind of been the talk of camp. Like, Devin Lloyd has had a really, really good camp. And look, last year was a weird year for him. When the Jaguars drafted him, it was awesome because he was immediately in Jacksonville, immediately doing different, like going to, like, I think he was like on Orange Park doing some training. Like, he was immediately like getting to work to make sure that he gets acclimated and ready for the season. And then once the season started, like the training camp started, I think just right before training camp, he suffered like a hamstring injury, and he was out basically all of training camp and only played him. He played in the final training camp game against the Falcons, or the final preseason game against the Falcons, but that was it. And, he came on the season, was hot early. Then, teams figure out how to attack him, just kind of attack him through space. And it's a complicated defense. Just a lot of things are working against them. Now this year, I mean, it looks like he's taken up the defense. He's learned it pretty well. And it looks like, he's taken that responsibility very seriously to make sure that he is good to go. So that's another big one that we need to hit, because he was a 1st-round pick and he has all the potential. We want, this whole entire time that we've been Jaguar fans, we hear potential. It's all about banking on that potential. And we hope that Devin Lloyd is able to do that. Shout out to him. He's had a great camp so far. Offensive line, look, when Cam Robinson returns from his 4-game suspension, he's going to be the left tackle. He's getting all the left tackle reps, no left guard reps. Walker Little is out there playing with the ones at left guard. And then when the ones go out there with, I don't know if it was ones, but when Walker Little was out there at left tackle with the, at left tackle, then the left guard today was actually Blake Hance. So that one was interesting. We know that Ben Barch is still hurt. I don't know where Shatley was. I didn't see any of Shatley today. And, Van Laneland didn't take any steps. So Blake Hance right now. But yeah, the starting line, once Cam Robinson comes back, it's going to be Walker Little at left guard. That's what it's going to look like. So overall, man, it was a long day of training camp. I think the first training camp practice I went to was like 2 hours. And this one was 2 hours and 20 minutes. It definitely felt pretty long. It was a hot day out. I couldn't tell because I'm out there under the shade with the big fans. Thank you, Shad, for that action. But it was a very tough day of training camp. Look, it was, it was physical out there. I mean, I saw at least a couple times guys get tackled to the ground, and in today's training camp world, that just doesn't really happen. Now it's just more wrap up. They don't want players getting taken to the ground. We saw that today, and I like the physicality. I like players playing like that. No real fights went on, so the Jaguars are, I guess, getting along pretty well. We'll see next week when they do training camp against the Lions. If maybe some brawls break out, maybe some Trayvon Walker versus Aiden Hutchinson action. Maybe Marvin Jones takes it out against his old team for not signing him. Maybe Dan Campbell goes out there and bites some kneecaps off. uh, maybe it'll get physical out there. But yeah, it was a fun practice, man. I really enjoyed it. Love being able to go back to Jacksonville. I don't know when the next time I go. I'll go sometime during the season. I'm gonna probably wait till about November time because man, I got spoiled by that shade at training camp. Now that I know what it's like, I need that every time. But just to look ahead, like I said, training camp or preseason's coming up. The first preseason game is actually Saturday in Dallas against the Cowboys. They're going to be looking for that sweet, sweet revenge after we beat them in overtime. So yeah, that's a kind of a look ahead. And with all that said, that's pretty much all I got from training camp practice. Met a bunch of you guys out there. Shout out to you guys. Always appreciate meeting all you guys and kind of knowing that the people commenting on my videos are real people in real life. So that's cool. So thank you guys for watching the video. Check out BetUS. Then shout out to them for sponsoring this video. And that's all I got for you guys. Go Jags. Enjoy the rest of your day.